Good evening, everyone. This is Adrian, and it is the 1st of January 16th of 2026. And my purpose of recording this video is to mainly talk about my thoughts of today. And on the car ride home, I had a lot of different thoughts that were just coming into my head, and I think the best way to record them is by talking, so I can try and arrange my memories in a certain way, you know. And let me first talk about how I'm feeling mentally, since I think the last time I made a video was in May, and I think one of the main reasons why I stopped is I think I was just lazy, and I think laziness is one of my biggest weaknesses. Also, it's also a strength in some ways, since laziness can enable me to think in different methods, I think, like shortcuts. I find different paths and I choose the fastest path. But I think I've been learning a lot. I've been learning a lot personally recently, and I think the main things I have to work on is repetition, discipline, being ambitious, having that fire in you, and just just doing what I want to do in life. Let's start with my purpose. And throughout this video I might pause a lot because it's just me processing my feelings, and I might go on different tangents, but just bear with me for a second. I want to improve on my communication skills. That's one of the main reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to talk better in public, because that's one thing I find myself not being able to do, is just talk when other people's here, no matter if it's a stranger, if it's a close friend. I just want to bring my ideas from up here to up, to express what I feel. And my main purpose in life, I think for now, I want to achieve happiness and wealth. I want to understand what both of them are and find a perfect balance somewhere on that line, while having good health and friendships, relationships, family relationships, all that, everything going smoothly. These are some things I manifest every day, is good wealth, good health, happiness, and I think having good relationships fall under happiness, because every time I go out with friends, I see friends in Shanghai, I hang out with my girlfriend, I talk to parents. I think deep down these all make me really happy because I have someone else to talk to. I'm not alone, and I don't like being alone. Next thing is consistency, discipline. This is one of the worst things this is one of my weakest traits, I think, is not having good discipline. And I think discipline can be learnt. It's a mental battle, Sometimes discipline is like waking up early in the morning, or it's like just being consistent everyday repetition. I think that's very important. Just showing up every day, no matter if it's a good day or bad day, just showing up, just being there. And I admit, some days I do it, some days I don't, and I haven't been consistent with it. So from now on, I'll try my absolute best to put me on that path, because let me talk about what motivated me to just make this video, right? This afternoon, I went to volunteer at this workshop, you can say, and it's organized by these two clinical psychologists, one being Kenny, one being Kenneth, and what they're doing is called, I wrote it all down, during the thing of what it is, and it's about adaptive parenting group. And what it is, basically, it's a group of people just talking about the issues of the family, and the method it's run of, it's very unique because it's from a system they've learned from one of the Harvard schools, when there's the protagonist, you can say, like the main person who speaks. He talks about his issues with family relationships, and there's different stakeholders like the wife, his son, the daughter, maybe the daughter's school. And in this case, I listened to the guy. Basically is a father. He has a 25-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter, and he's kind of complaining about how his daughter's very lazy, and let me see, he's very lazy and does stuff in the last minute, and he feels like she's not expressing her feelings with him. And basically, in a group setting, he talks about what his situation is, and then afterwards, different people who's also in that group ask him questions, including the clinical psychologist. So they're just asking questions, like one is to know more about the whole story. It's like puzzle pieces. The guy brings puzzle, and then different people ask him different questions, and it's like more different pieces of the puzzle. And then the main goal is to figure out all the factors of the problem. And then the uniqueness of this is, after doing this, after asking questions, the guy is removed from the conversation and placed into a corner where he's just writing down his thoughts. And then people in the group, other people who listen to his story, starts to talk to him in like a third person. So they're just talking to each other about what he feels, like what the problems are, and it's like discussing with each other while the guy is just in the corner minding his own business, listening. And I think, because I'm still processing what happened, it's very emotion based. I was putting myself into his shoes, his daughter's shoes, and I try to think of other people, what they say, and it's all very fast paced. Everyone has different voices, different opinions, because it's the main idea of this workshop is to help parents and teach parents how to communicate better with their own kids. And I think in Hong Kong this is a very important issue, since parents, it's their first time being parents, and no one really taught them how to be parents. And that's one of the issues, with my mum. Sometimes my mum does stuff, says stuff, she thinks it's right, and I don't think it's right. It's communication issues. She doesn't understand what I'm thinking, I don't understand what she's thinking, and it's just finding a balance between the two people. Compromise, that's how I understand it. Just finding a compromise and learning how to become better people, And during this course, there's a lot of different, at first it's like the 2-hour course. The first guy talks about some psychology-based issue or like problem. He teaches the its and bits of what it is, like more technical, logical, like teaching material stuff. And then the latter part is like group session based. And I'm very fortunate in this case, since my parents met, my mum met Kenny in this one class, and then he kind of introduced me to him. So I got to go and help as a volunteer and understand more about what he's doing. And after the class, I was talking to another clinical psychologist who, and then I was just listening to what they said about the career. And I think, since in my opinion they're like around 40 to 50-ish, you know, it's good to think about different ways of getting the message across, because the main issue is with funding. They have a lot of different ideas, but it's hard to find funding. So even in a field like psychology, getting to know people and socializing, networking is very important. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video. And from now on, I want to try and make different videos of me just talking. And I had some ideas in my head where in some videos I could just start talking about my day, how I feel. And some of them is I could learn offline, off video, a topic or like an idea about some field in psychology, or like that I think is meaningful, maybe a quote, maybe a book, and I just talk to the camera and say how I feel. And I think it's like a good start of building who I am and just getting myself out there, out of that comfort zone into like a growth zone, because that's where things happen. And one thing with me is I really like to manifest. So I manifest things like wealth, health, happiness, money. And for me, low-key, it's actually been working. And you can say I'm capping, but just being grateful every day, saying 3 things before bed or like randomly, just after something happens, just be grateful about it and think. And then one thing I've been doing recently is just meditating and having this own playground in my mind. Sometimes I can just go there, rest, think, process, meditate in my head, just imagining this peaceful area where I can just always go to for like a safe comfort zone. That's what I've been doing. I think doing that is very useful, you know. Some people can say, oh, manifesting this, manifesting that, that's fucking useless, you know. I think manifesting is important, but I still have to put in the work, because before I always just talk. I talk the talk. I never do the do, walk the walk. And I think it's time to step out of my comfort zone, do stuff that I feel uncomfortable with. Maybe I've thought of this. Maybe I start an Instagram channel where I just, you know, at first do what I just said earlier, just talk, and then maybe I start interviewing people, building who I am, documenting my journey as a psychology student in Hong Kong. You know, doesn't matter about the views, doesn't matter about, you know, the likes, anything like that. It's good to have. Like deep down I say it doesn't matter, it still matters. But I think the main purpose is to bring me out of that comfort zone. Having that fire. Know what my purpose is in life. You know, I think sometimes I'm fed up of just existing, and I want to start just making, you know. I think that's the purpose, was to make, to create, and not to consume. And I think just talking to the camera, it's very comforting. It's like talking to a best friend. talking to me as a kid, where I have these dreams, those dreams, and just getting to know more about myself. And I know sometimes I put a lot of different pressures onto myself, but I want you to know, Adrian, that you're worth it. You deserve to be loved, and you deserve everything good that comes into your life. I truly mean that. So, I hope for you, Adrian, in the future, no matter when it is, maybe a week later, a month later, a year later, I hope you can always come back to this video and just look back at this moment, this day. Remember that fire you have in you, and just be in this moment again. Try and live this, manifest it, go back. And I think, I don't know, I was gonna say, oh, you think you, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But, it's good to document what you think. Sometimes I was gonna write this out, but I didn't know where to start. It's like writing, it's good, but sometimes emotions, those things just come naturally. I don't really have a script to doing this. I only have this. Okay, I accidentally cut the video, but I was gonna say I only have this, and this is just what happened earlier in the session to go off of, but it's just not really, I didn't really plan on what to say. And yeah, that's it. Good luck, Adrian. Peace.